All right, hi everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm Enzo, and today I'm going to be commentating for Harutomo for We Love Katamari REROLL. Okay, Harutomo, 自己紹介お願いします。
Hello everyone, I'm Harutomo. I'm Katamari Speedrunner. Please enjoy this showcase. Okay, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, okay, so this is actually a remake of the second game in the Katamari series. It was only released last year, I think, actually. So it's pretty new and it's pretty flash, looking good. A lot more polished than the last remake. But it's mostly the same kind of game and really similar to the original game. So first, what I'm going to quickly do is explain sort of how Katamari works functionally. So it's moved with two sticks, you use dual sticks, and say if you put both sticks straight forward, the king will walk forward. If you put both sticks back, well, the prince will walk backwards. Both sticks left, you go left, both sticks right, you go right. You can sort of see it on the screen. But if you go one stick up and one stick down, say right stick up, left stick down, you're going to turn to the left, you'll spin around. And then other way, you'll do the opposite, left stick up, right stick down, you'll spin to the right. And so these basically make up how you move. And it's sort of like rather than moving the ball, you're moving the prince who's pushing the ball. So you're sort of moving his hands. And then here.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so I'll explain more what that is after. But basically that's the main controls. And then the last thing you should watch out for is if you move the sticks up and down rapidly, what you're also going to get is what's called a boost. And so you'll do this. Basically, you'll spin around and then the ball will push and move really fast. There's a lot more details into that, and we'll maybe see some of that as we keep going. But for now, we can sort of take that. The initial thing about this is actually it's quite difficult to control. And if anyone's played Katamari, they'll find that actually it has sort of a learning curve to it, and it can be difficult for quite a bit. But once you get your hands around it and you get used to it, it gets really fun and actually has a really advanced level of difficulty. With this sort of dual stick motion, you've got a lot of different detail you can do. So if you put even both one stick down, the other stick across, and it's not straight, it's a little tilted, you'll turn slightly faster or slightly slower. And these things can make a big difference.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. So now coming into the next level, I'm actually going to explain how the game works. So generally your goal in the game is to make a Katamari, to roll up a bunch of stuff, and then here's your father, the king, and he's going to throw it into this space, shoot a beam out of his eyes. Oh, actually, he doesn't shoot a beam out of his eyes in this game. Oh no, that's how he breaks them. Anyway, whatever. He's going to throw it into space and make a planet. It'll be exciting, it'll be fun. Everyone's going to love it. So normally what your goal is in most levels is to get to a certain size. So what you should see in the top left corner, where's the top left corner is a size. So it will say 0 meters, well, probably like 5 centimeters or something. And then it will say you're aiming for 40 centimeters here. So yeah, see, 5 centimeters, aiming for 40. Oh, okay, we're starting from here. And this game also has random spawns, actually. So I've actually not seen anyone start from this spawn. It's cool. This is actually a new attack that I'm used to. But basically, we're kind of getting used to where you start. Oh, that's a bad bonk. So another thing about this game is whenever you roll up objects, they affect your gravity and how the ball collides with... Okay, good. Nice. How your ball collides with stuff. So when you run into objects and you roll around, it's going to add another layer to this movement. So what you'll kind of see is Haru's bouncing around a bit with the ball. And you can feel that when you're controlling, that it's not straight. It moves a little jagged. And when your goal is to roll up stuff on the floor, it bounces around a bit and it gets kind of difficult. So then the last thing about that is when you're bouncing around, what's going to happen is you're going to miss objects. So a core thing in this game is being adaptable. Because our goal is a size, it's not to get to X location. We don't need to just reach somewhere. We really just need to hit a size. We could hit that size anywhere as long as we hit it. So really, our movement from place to place is all about getting to zones where we can grab objects like those flowers.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And basically, you've sort of got kind of this interesting challenge where you're trying to move as quickly as possible, but trying to make sure you grab as much as possible. And you want to be big. If you're small, it means you can't grab objects. You need to be a certain size to grab them. And so every little bit matters, and it can make a big difference. If you're bigger than normal there, you might skip something later. You might save a little bit of time. If you're too small, you're going to have to grab something else. The worst case scenario is you roll over to that object, not realizing you're too small, and then you're standing there going, oh no, what do I do? There's nothing around me. I'm going to have to walk all the way over here to grab something and make it up. So good runners are always paying attention, always watching, keeping track of their size, knowing what they can do. And they go, oh no. Okay, and another interesting thing about this is a stage where there's cycles. So you'll see these fishes swimming around, and something like that where Haru got bonked can actually be quite punishing because you can be moved around and not know where objects are. Haru's done really well to not actually get punished at all by this. Oh, and really nice size for the Hanima. I think they're 35 exactly, or 34. So that was really good and clean. So rolling over here, Haru can kind of just sneak around, get some nice movement, get some clean movement through. And an interesting thing about this level is, you have some kind of air motion. Normally, actually in this game, even other movement, you are a bit floaty, but this level, it's extra floaty. And one thing Haru wanted me to point out, and I'll mention, is this cat in that corner over there that is holding 4 fishing rods, I think. Their name is Tomohashi. And they are very keen on fishing.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And I mentioned just a little bit before we have a quick break for donations, but basically that's how this game works for the most part. You're rolling up stuff, you're focusing on sizes, aiming to get through, and being always very adaptive, very attentive, keeping track of all these details, while also trying to use these really difficult controls. So it's very challenging, very fun. But also there isn't really many glitches or any sort of text, so it's actually quite approachable. You are just playing the game fast. This level, there's actually not as much to mention. You're mostly just rolling up a lot of flowers. Some levels you've got goals. This level we've got to get 644, I think, flowers. And so I'm going to mention that, and then we'll have some time for some donations.
Awesome. So for the donations as well, we've already had a lot of love come in. I want to shout out that for our escape sequence, we have actually raised over $1,500 towards that incentive, which is amazing. That has flown up in the last few minutes. And helping us get there, we have so much love for Haru. For example, we have $10 from Ayala Ventus, who says, we love Katamari and we love it even more at GDQ with Harutomo at the control. Ha, Royal Rainbow Tomo! Thank you so much for your donation.
Rainbow.
Woo! We also had $5 from Bread Barn come in, very thematic, saying, Royal, and I can't stress this enough, Rainbow. Thank you so
Royal
much for your
Rainbow.
donation, Bread Barn.
All right. Well, I should quickly mention something for this stage because this is actually really important. So what this run is it's called Roll Up the Sun. And so our goal here is to get big enough that we can roll up the sun. And so Haru's going to take a shot at it. We're sending it. If he hits this, if they hit this, we win. It's over. Come on. Oh. No, too small. So
Wow.
basically what happens in that level is you have to send your ball, your Katamari, straight at the sun and fail. And what that does is it unlocks you some new levels, but it shows you that's your goal. So your goal in this game is to make planets. So I mentioned earlier that when we finish a level, the king's going to make a planet. At the end of that, we can quickly sort of, well, not quickly. At the end, you can see that little stage we're in space. You have to try and roll up as many planets as you can and reach a certain size to roll up the sun. So we're going to go through all these levels, make a ton of planets, and then finish it off with rolling the sun. So this is back to kind of our base normal stage. We just got a size 3 meters to hit, and this is called a A-lap stage, or as large as possible. And in a lot of them, you're going to see some of the same areas with different things moved around. Host grabbing a lot of objects, trying to get through. Should aim for 20 meters so they can leave this upper area. And then we'll get this little loading zone where the king sort of introduces you to the spot. Hurry, skip that, move through faster. And boost down here, nice boost. Roll through all these little figures, grab all this stuff. And head around for these, I guess, transformers. Sort of dolls here. I guess maybe non-copyright transformers, we'll call them. And then kind of roll around, grab a bunch of objects. There should be some... Oh no, it's not this level. But anyway, there'll be some RNG on some things like these NPCs going around in different areas, but how you roll things up and how you get and react is the same sort of things we're used to. We'll take a little break here and use this for some donations.
For sure. I am absolutely blown away by how much love is coming in for Haru right now, honestly. Thank you so much to everybody who's been supporting Doctors Without Borders. We have $25 from Optimistic Gamer who says, "Good Haruto morning, GDQ, and good morning, Haru. It's my vacation and I should be sleeping in, but my partner and I had to wake up early to make sure I saw one of my favorite speedrunning cats. Haru, your streams have been a great place to spend my evenings for the last year. Thanks for being so welcoming and can't wait to hear all the Wahoo jams. Good luck on the run, Haru." Thank you so much for your donation.
We can probably do one more.
For sure. We have $500 from Flamethrower who says, "I love Katamari." Indeed, I think we all do. Thank you so much for supporting Doctors Without Borders. All right, back to you.
All right.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. All right, so now you're kind of getting the idea of what the game is. We go through these sort of levels, we do different things. And an interesting thing is this game introduced more different kind of challenges of like aim for this size, aim for these different things, rather than, well, aim for this size is the only one really that was in the first game, other than sometimes aim for a certain amount of objects. This game is, so for, I guess the next stage is another example of that. We're aiming for 150 students and we're going to a school. But each stage you've kind of got this goal to do. And actually I should mention, how this game works is it's actually sort of meta, and the point of the game is everyone loved the first game so much that the king is sending you back and you're filling out a bunch of fan requests. So every level is basically some fan saying something like, "The king is so amazing," and then he goes, "Amazing? Amazing?" You go, "Well, I mean, I am amazing. So what I can do is I'll send the prince in, my son, because I'm so amazing, and he's going to do this task for you. He'll help you." And basically that's how the game works. They all reference how much they love the first game, how much they love the king, and then he sort of gives in to the, I guess the sort of goading for them to leave them in, and he sends you to go do tasks for him. Wow. And then you're kind of moving around stages. So actually this is a 1.5 meter stage. I was wrong. And this also introduces another interesting mechanic, these warp doors that you've seen Haru go through. And here, Haru's going to roll up a cousin. So basically you're the prince, you're royalty, but you've got a lot of cousins, and they are going to be playable characters.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so now, normally you generally don't want to roll up cousins because it adds a little text box. That's it, not a big deal, but the king's going to roll up, show you the cousin. That's miso, because they got miso soup in their head. And you go, congratulations, you got Miso. You can play as them now. What are you doing here, Miso? They do that kind of dialogue, and then you can play as them. And you can even do 2 players. You could have a friend play as them, and you can both control one Katamari together. But anyway, here we're probably not going to do that. We're going to just let that slide, and we're going to keep playing. So coming in through, we should be in the cleaning stage. This one's kind of interesting because we just have a limit. We've got 100 objects we need to roll up. That's all the objects on this stage, really, excluding the cousin. We just need to get all of them. So really here it's just getting a route that you can move cleanly and quickly, aiming for sizes. You can't see your size. Well, you can actually. You can see your size down there, but you plan out a route for it really, and you just roll through. So Haru's aiming for a little bigger than this, and then they should be able to grab these blue, there we go, those sort of tracks. And once you've got that, you can kind of finish up this ground level, the floor. And once you hit, oh, missing a couple. There we go, nice. Aiming for about 12 here so we can go up. Yeah, once you've got 12, you know, you should be safe to finish at the top. And we're good, yeah.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And then I'll quickly introduce this level and then we'll take a bit of a break for donations. So this next level coming in, you're going to work for a little guy named Dr. Katamari. He's not a real doctor, but he is a real dog. And he's actually, he's more of a doctor in the actual, sort of like he has a doctorate in something, he's an expert. So he's apparently meant to be the inventor of the Katamari, according to the Japanese website. It's not really on any English things, but he's the inventor of the Katamari. And he comes to the king and says, I want to make friends. I don't have any friends. And so he's a dog. Where should a dog go make friends? Well, we're going to the zoo. And here our goal is to roll up 150 friends. And so basically what we need to do is we need to keep aiming for these little animals, grab as many animals as we can. So we're aiming for wherever has the most animals, the largest clumps. But also we need to reach sizes, because if you're not big enough, you can't roll people up, you can't roll animals up. And so it's all about moving through, grabbing animals, people. Well, I guess people don't count as animals, but still you got to roll them up for size. Although actually one thing, the mascots do count as animals. So interesting thing, if you wear a mascot costume, you are now an animal. Yeah, okay, we'll leave that there. So take a quick break for donations.
Absolutely. So coming in again, so much love for Haru. We have $10 from Jen the Bug, who says, Ganbate Harutomo, can't wait to see one of my favorite Katamari runners do their thing. Donation goes to player name Trans Rights. And indeed, we have Trans Rights in the lead as the player name choice for One Shot, which will be coming up after this. So if you want to keep that in the lead, make sure to keep getting those donations in. Thanks so much, everybody. We also had $25 from Inverse Skies, who says, Royal Rainbow! Love watching Harutomo's Katamari runs at GDQ. I agree. Thanks so much for supporting MSF.
All right, well, I'll quickly mention here that we're finishing off this level. Haru's going to just jump in this pool, roll up a load of these tiny little seals and penguins to finish up. Hit that 150 and head out.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And now we've actually got a pretty difficult level coming up. Unless I'm mistaken, the next level should be the snowman level. And anyone who's run this game knows this level's tricky. What you have to do is you need to roll up a huge snowman, basically rolling up a lot of snow. It can be kind of tedious, but a little tricky. You don't want to lose the snow because it can be punishing. So, yep, there we go. So Haru's going to be heading here, getting a huge snowman to finish up. He's got to meet a large goal. So this is going to be a huge time sink in the run. So this will kind of make or break most of the run. We'll see how we go. Haru's going to aim here, shoot for this ball. And that's the snowman. Greatest snowman you've ever seen.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. So that's sort of the other point is a lot of the time you have a goal of sort of hitting a aim to accomplish this, make a big snowman. It doesn't really matter as long as you just hit the goal, it's done. So there'll be a few stages like this in this game. We'll see a couple others as we go, but this is a good example of it. In the next level, we'll be coming into another longer A-lap level. So this is called A-lap 4. And what we can do is we'll take a bit of a break through the start of this for some donations, and then we'll mention some things later on.
Absolutely. So we had $25 come in from Rowdy Roddy Sniper, who says, Haruto morning. Always enjoy seeing Harutomo run Katamari Damacy at GDQ, and glad to support Doctors Without Borders. Best of luck with the attempt, Haru, and Royal Rainbow! Thank you so much for your support. We love to see it. We also had $20 from Grey Waves, who says, Katamari is the perfect reminder for how small things can quickly add up to something huge and awesome. Just like GDQ. Love from Germany. Thank you so much. We appreciate seeing all these donations come in.
All right, well, one thing I want to mention here to watch for is actually how much the shape matters. So here you can see Haru's getting actually kind of a messy shape. So the Katamari is going to be bouncing around, going to be moving a little awkwardly. So Haru has to feel and sort of notice that and play around how to move with that. Another thing I should also mention is actually when you boost, your Katamari moves into the floor. So it's another great way to grab stuff that's down low. And here's another thing about boosting. When you boost too much, the king gets exhausted. So down in the corner, the prince gets exhausted. He's going, phew, yeah. And you need to wait for them to recharge the meter. And during that time, you actually move a little slower. It's less punishing in this game, but it's still, you'll lose time. So it's important to pay attention to how much you're boosting. There's no visible boost meter. You just need to feel how much you've boosted, how much you've been using that meter aggressively, or have you been boosting pretty lightly. Even if you're boosting a lot, you've been cancelling out your boost quickly to not use a lot of meter. Because it actually only exerts while the prince is leaning forward and running. So you see the prince leans and runs while you're boosting. And during that time, your meter is being used. So when the prince moves back to standing up, you stop using your meter. So basically Haru boosts, releases the stick quickly, and that cancels the boost usage, basically. But now going through here, Haru's going to be grabbing a bunch of stuff, aiming to hit the bushes that we sort of were over around here, or this cow. I think we're not going to reach to the size of the cow, but anyway, we're going to head through and we're going to be aiming to get... Oh no, we got the cow, yeah. And then we're aiming to head back to where we were earlier. So another thing about this game that I should also mention is you kind of backtrack a bit because you go to one area and you're really small, you can't really grab much. You head forward, you go to this next area, and actually it's pretty quick to go long distances as long as it's in lines. If you're boosting, you can travel really far, really quickly, but actually kind of detailed movement in a small area can be quite hard. So you're looking to create lines when you're routing this game. And so it's kind of an interesting movement to see how you move around the map, how you make these routes. They're really cool. And Haru's come up with a lot of cool routing ideas and changed how the game plays. And here we've got an interesting thing we're running into, some RNG. So at the top, we've got a Ferris wheel, and we're looking for the mushroom house. If we get the mushroom house, we can end on the Ferris wheel here. If we get the elephant, we gotta look for some exercise. Yes, okay, that should be it. Nice. And that actually does save 5-10 seconds sometimes, so it's a pretty big deal.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And this is also the kind of game where you're constantly just leaking time out. You do something slightly slower than normal, you do something slightly faster than normal. So it's a game where you can very quickly lose all of your time save, very quickly gain it all. And it can be actually quite interesting for races in that way. But continuing on, we're moving to what's called the drive mode levels or race car. And this is a unique thing they made for this game. It's actually shown up in all the later games after this. But basically how it works is you don't need to push your 6 forward to move. If you just hold your 6 neutral, the Katamari will always move forward. You can't stop. And so what that basically does is it means it's quite hard to move. So Haru's doing really well here, aiming for this. Nice, good break there. So Haru's even braking, slowing things down. If you brake, you can slow. You won't stop, but you'll slow yourself down. And basically okay. Yeah, that's a bit punishing, but not too bad. That's good. So this level's really tricky because if you make a mistake or get knocked around, you can't turn very easily. So you've got to kind of move around, see how you can get through. Haru's going for the turtles, or the tortoises probably. I mean, for these, good movement through this, nice, clean. Getting good movement, and important thing here, Haru's going to show you how to turn around here is basically you slam into a wall and use that to turn you. So Haru's going to use this, turn around, and then go for these pipes. That are around 3 meters exactly. Around exactly 3 meters. And then Haru can go through the opposite way of the racetrack, show these people who's boss, who've been beating them up, and finish it off.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And coming from maybe the most difficult level for a speedrun, we're going to go to the most difficult level for a co-op playthrough. This level, it's called the campfire level, and actually it is also maybe slightly risky. Probably won't have anything bad happen here, but basically in this level you're trying to start a campfire. You got to get a certain size while keeping your Katamari lit on fire. And what happens is if you don't roll up enough items quickly enough, your ball will extinguish. You'll lose the flame. The other thing you can do is if you touch water, you instantly die, basically. So this is one of the few levels where you can just lose the level instantly. So there's going to be a point a little later where Haru's going to boost along this line of sunflowers really close to water, and they're going to be hoping that they don't slip. But here's a good example of these lines as well that I was mentioning. You can see these lines of objects here, moving through these clean lines, boosting through. And even other chunks were a little too far but made it. Nice, good extinguishers, heading to these boxes, bit of a bounce. Aiming for 97.8 for those boxes. Heading through here, knocking some people away, and here it is. Avoiding that, nice, good clean. Should be able to grab these logs then, and aim to finish up here at 1 meter 50. Nice.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And then the next thing I'll just quickly mention what the next level is. Basically, it's a Hansel and Gretel themed sweets level. You roll down, for Hansel and Gretel, you're gonna roll down, grab a bunch of sweets for them, and then leave the level. It'll be super fast. Haru's gonna spruce down a hill, aim for 66 sweets, I think, and then leave the level. Numbers might be slightly off. But anyway, we can take a quick break there to read maybe 1 or 2 donations.
Absolutely. I love sweets, so I'm excited for this one. All right, now for the love coming in for Haru again. We have $25 from Pocket Tanuki, who says, "We love Harutomo, Royal Rainbow, woo!" Thank you so much, Pocket Tanuki. And we also had $50 from Alien Crustacean come in saying, "We heart Katamari." Indeed we do. Thanks so much for supporting MSF, you too.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And actually, I want to clarify something. I was completely wrong on all that level. I remembered it wrong. You don't actually need to hit a certain number of sweets. How this level works is you need to hit enough size that you can roll up Hansel and Gretel. That's actually your goal in this level. So although it is to get as many sweets as possible, really you just need to get big enough to roll them up and leave. That's actually what our goal is. So Haru's boosting down, grabbing everything, and then rolling back up to head out. Now this level is another one where you're aiming to be as big as possible. And so Haru needs to, basically it's called a cowbell level. So Haru's dodging anything that is a cow. Oh wait, no, okay, sorry, we're doing crates. Got the order. Okay, so this level actually we roll 666 crates. I keep saying 6. One of the times I'm going to be right. But we're rolling a bunch of cranes. This is a good spawn actually. Spawning on the desk is probably the best spawn. It's the safest for RTA. I think there's a faster one elsewhere, but it's a little riskier and it's easier to sort of mess up because it's kind of easy to skip some cranes here. You can see Haru's not grabbing all of them. Haru's going for these clumps and just moving. You don't take the time to stop and make sure you grab everything because that's slow and it's hard. It's not just hard, it's just slow. So moving through, grabbing as efficiently as you can, but just going is the best way to do things. And these chunks, well, you're gonna aim to get big. So these sort of lines where you see these huge groups of cranes sort of clumped together. Noticing Opio on the bed, your famous cousin, named Opio for unique reasons. Moving on.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. No, just kidding. Opio is just short for operation, I think. So now the next level should be Cowbear then. And this level is the one where you're basically aiming to roll up a cowbear, or the cowbear, the giant cowbear. So Haru needs to avoid every tiny cow or tiny bear, and even, oh wait, or is it? Wait, or is it baby? I can't remember. No, it's not cowbear. I've got the levels wrong on my list. Okay, doesn't matter. That's fine.
Oh, bear.
Oh, it's cowbear. So what we're doing is we're aiming to reach a certain size to hit this cowbear, but you got to keep avoiding these tiny objects, and even stuff like a vending machine that sells milk, or a cow pylon, or a tiny bear counts.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so rolling up the tiniest one, Haru sent out of there. Really difficult level in casual play, really easy level in a speedrun. Just step forward, no matter the random spawn, instant end. So there's a couple of those super fast ending. We just grab all these planets, get big, and we'll need those to finish later on, but we also just needed to unlock more levels to end. So now moving through, we should be going to the exact size level. Basically, Haru needs to roll up exactly 20... No, this isn't the exact size level. This is the friends level again. This one, we've got to roll up a bunch of friends quickly. 50 friends, same as the other ones. And just end fast, go through as many as you can, just speed through. You start bigger here, so it's easy. And should end really quickly. Done.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so we'll have some more of these tiny levels. I think they'll be the exact size level next, but I can explain it after anyway if it is. We can quickly run some donations.
Absolutely. So I want to give a fun update on our Sea Frog escape sequence incentive. We're sitting at $1,765 out of the $5,000 we need. Still a couple runs to go, but $3,000 can go by very quickly. So keep those donations rolling in, everybody. We love to see it. Helping us get even closer to our goals, we have some lovely comments coming in from the community. $10 from Megu, who says, "So happy to wake up to my favorite game series and another wonderful run from Haru. Keep on rolling, everyone, and Royal Rainbow." Heart. Thank you so much, Megu.
All right, cool. So now this is actually one of the more interesting levels. So this one, you're rolling up a sumo. You are aiming for a size, a certain amount of kilograms, because you're rolling up food, and each bit of food you roll up makes them bigger. They got to get strong to win their fight. And so what happens is you roll up stuff, they go gochandes, which is basically like a sumo way of saying sort of thanks for the food. It's just like a polite thing, kind of fun. And so Haru's hit the 133. They're going to aim for this, and they're going to send it, hit this sumo out, and you get Oshidashi. Basically, that means push out. So Haru knocked the sumo out, the real sumo term.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can finish in sumo. It's pretty exciting. And there was actually a recent sumo tournament not that long ago. But Oshidashi just means you push them out directly. Normally, it shouldn't be as easy as Haru made it look. Normally, there's a bit more of a fight. Pretty exciting. But this time, Haru just sent it and was bigger and pushed them out. So what we're coming into now is this is the exact size level. This is what I was looking for. Here you've got a girl with a hula hoop. She spins it, and because she likes hula hoops, she likes that round shape. So she wants you to roll up an exact shape, and this is going to be Saturn. So Haru needs to get exactly 20 centimeters is the goal here. Really, you just need to be in a range that is reasonable. So Haru's aiming for 10 centimeters here. Haru knows if they grab a certain amount of objects that should be this, they should be fine.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow? And we're good. So, or unless the king is bad. But you can't really tell. Haru knows that they're going to be fine. Exactly 10 centimeters, 2 millimeters. So if they were 3 millimeters short, you'd have to redo that level. And you would lose a decent bit of time, actually, because the king would scold you. It rains, the prince cries, and the king shoots lasers at you. So what happens to anyone when their parents get mad at them? I know we've all dealt with that. But the prince, yeah, so you've relived those experiences, but luckily we don't fail on the run, so it's easy. And here we've got to make enough money to save the pandas. And that's enough. We'll donate $12.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so if anyone wants to, you can donate hashtag save the pandas as well. But yeah, so level where you've got to roll up basically an amount of money, grab one thing and leave, and it's fine. We need to hit, I think you do need to hit $12, but it's just aiming for that little bit of size, that little bit of money, and then you're good. You can't just leave instantly, it won't work. And now we should be heading towards the end. We've got A-Lap 5, which is really the last main level of the run, and how you can think about it, sort of. That this is the final big level. We're aiming for 500 meters. And this is actually kind of an interesting level. We've got also, I think I should mention about the game is, obviously, one of the most famous things about Katamari is the music, the soundtrack. And a huge part of the Katamari soundtrack was using singers who used to be famous. They're not necessarily still super famous at the time. They were maybe fading a little in popularity. And so what they did was they'd grab those singers that people used to know and they'd make some new songs with them in the soundtrack. And so we get a lot of different famous, interesting singers. And this is actually... I forgot his last name. Shigeru-san. Anyway, Shigeru Matsuzaki. Yeah. So they are a famous singer, famous for their sort of tan skin, and they've made a bunch of songs for Katamari Damacy, a lot of the sort of theme main songs, and this is kind of the theme song for this game. So in most Katamari games, in the last main level, you'll have sort of the theme song for the game. So in the first game, it's the like na 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 Katamari Damacy. And this one, it's this one. And so I was rolling through, and you get your star singer, your starter cast coming through, and you're singing your songs, and you're having a fun time. So here, we've got a pretty big goal too. So you kind of will see some of these areas you've been to, some of these things we've done. We're going to go to the Ferris wheel again. We're going to try and hit this, hopefully get good RNG again. Maybe this time we won't be so lucky, and it's a bit faster this time. It's not there. It doesn't matter in this one. We just speed through. We still hit those sizes. We get a little bit of a thing. Haru gets the buses, and then they're going to boost around, aiming to get some of these buildings back that we saw earlier. And these places you've seen, now we're going to actually clean it up a bit bigger. And we're going to get big here. We're going to get really big. We're going to get 500 meters tall. We're going to be large. We're going to see some things you've seen, places you've been. We're going to go to some countries you know, because we're going kind of world faring around. We're getting a bit lost, getting moved around a bit. Okay, Haru's going back through, grabbing some of the stuff, heading to Asia. So going through and then heading to Europe, going past the sort of Disney castle, grabbing all this stuff here. Going to the Colosseum and I should know the name, but I can't remember the arch. Anyway, going to the factories, rolling up here, coming back here. Even other interesting things, there's this giant red sort sort of sign here. You can't really see it now anyway because we're getting ready to roll up. Oh, we're going the other way. True, I forgot. Okay, we're going to go here. You might see King Kong if we're lucky. Not there. Too big. If you're too big, they don't show up. But basically, Haru's gotten good because actually you kind of don't want them to be you don't want to be too small. Haru's going to be big enough. They're going to roll through, head around. Roll up the Hollywood sign, head around here. We've gone to America. We've rolled past the Mount Rushmore and heading over here and rolling up the Great Wall of China. And you should see on the other side on this wall, there's this giant fiery this symbol. This is actually a festival in Japan, as they have these, they're called Daimonji. Daimonji. And basically they just light a fire of a big symbol. And actually even in Pokemon, there's like a move called, I think it's Fire Blast in English, but actually in Japanese it's called Daimonji, and actually shoots out that sort of symbol, that shape. And so it's kind of interesting, fun fact. Here Haru's just going to roll through, aim for this big size, try and get these sort of mecha Mogran, pullback of Mogran earlier, kind of a reference to sort of kaiju films, your like Ultraman style characters. And there's a lot of references through this game and loads of items, interesting things. You can even see Jumbo Man there rolled up, and a giant Jumbo Man up there ahead. And Haru should be able to hit the 500 hitter, and it can be a little clunky here to roll around. The shape's brutal and the objects are kind of hard. Probably on the mountain. Yep, good.
No Royal Rainbow.
No. And there's no Royal Rainbow there. We just sort of get a blank finish. Because we're not yet done. We got a little bit to go. I know it is the sort of final climax, but the story still has a little bit to finish up. And we're going to go do some little tasks, clean up some small things, and then we're going to finish our real goal of roll up the sun. So this is actually maybe... I don't want to say the worst. It's not as fun as some other levels in the speedrun. Because in this level, what you do is you roll through and you grab these clouds and your angle is kind of rough. It can be awkward to try and roll the clouds, and it sort of is hard to see. The good thing is once you roll up enough, it gets really easy and it gets more fun. The only negative is once you roll up enough clouds, we just leave the level, so you don't really get to the part where the level becomes more fun. But that's okay. We'll get through this level and then we'll be ready to go help out some other people. But this is another interesting one. So this is another change. You see some cool things, all these gods. Some things from 50, we should be good to go.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And now we're sort of heading towards the end. We're going to go to help a student study. And they really want to focus. They've got this exam and they need some light. It's too dark. But what we're going to do is we're going to go onto this stage. It's called Fireflies. We're going to roll up a load of fireflies and try and get bright enough that they can study and hopefully not fail. And so an interesting thing about this level is normally most of the objects are different sizes and you're really aiming to get big. Here, you do have a size goal. We need 1 meter 50 centimeters. That's the exact goal. And there's our student we want to save at the end, so we need to finish by running into them. But basically, we're going to roll up all these tiny fireflies. So it's just about moving around clumps. Looking at those big spots there, like there's a huge load on there. Grabbing around this present, there's a bunch. And even that present can help you sort of get some more size to your Katamari. That's going to make your hitbox a little bigger, which will make it easier to roll up all these little fireflies. Even if that present is actually going to be a little bit of a text box punish, that you are going to have an extra text box to deal with after the level where the king is going to show you your present, but it's still worth it because it makes it much easier to roll through. So rolling around, rolling past the couples, heading to the peacock, should be able to get a nice size here. Go behind the waterfall, I think maybe. No, we're going to go under. Near the crocodile alligator where the skip is. And then we should be able to head up here, or a bit of a bonk. That's going to take a little bit of time off, actually, that we're huffing. So slow climb up. And finishing up. A little too small. Need a bit more. Rolling up for 450. There we go.
Royal Rainbow.
Royal Rainbow. And so here we're coming into our final stage. This is sort of our end. We're going to roll up the sun. So now, this is actually... It's one of the scariest levels in the speedrun, because especially you'll sort of see if you're on PB pace, it's actually quite terrifying. So normally you can see your size on the level and you know I'm aiming for this size and I hit that and I'm done. This level you don't. You just sort of have to feel it, know kind of, okay, if I grab about this amount, I'll be good. There is some little bit of extra problems though. So one, you basically got to roll up a bunch of planets. There's not an exact number of stars. So you see a star counter. Problem is, planets count as stars, but also these little tiny stars around the place that you'll randomly see go up. So sometimes, when you grab stardust, these little things around, you get these numbers. So stardust doesn't give you much size, but it comes up your counter. So you're really paying attention to how big you are. I'm going to hope Haru gets exactly the right size to roll it up. If you're bigger, that's fine. But it takes time. So in a speedrun, you don't want to waste time by grabbing extra stuff. You want to be really close to exact. So actually, every runner has probably experienced losing a run due to being just too small for the sun. It's the most brutal thing. So this is it. We're going to see if we make it. It should be good. It looks good. Yeah, we're good.
Hi.
We did it. And that's time. GG's time. And so that's it. All right. Well, I want to say first, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you for coming. I want to give a quick shout out to some of the other Katamari runners, Gamer, Shamana, Hanakoppa, Grass, all the other people, Dune Wacky, Mittens, basically a lot of people that have done a lot for the community, made things work really well. Everyone makes a big impact in Katamari, a game where routing is really tricky and any new perspective can make a big deal. So if it looks fun, give it a try. It's really fun. And I think we're pretty much ready to leave it at that. Haru, do you have any last things you want to say? Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Bye bye of ear shaking.
See you. Bye. Royal.